45 minutes, that's what it takes me every Sunday to meal prep my food for the week.
Whatever you choose, it just has to be something that you can integrate into your life so it doesn't take up too much mental real estate.
Planning ahead equals planning for success. When the week does get busy, it's not an excuse for me to not eat good to fuel my body.
What you do majority of the time is what's actually going to impact how you feel, not what you do 10 to 20% of the time.
If you're not in a hectic deficit phase and you're not working toward a goal in a specific time frame, why the are you tracking anything? Just live your life, brother. Welcome back to the Oi Let's Talk podcast. I'm Kate.
And I'm Gemma, a space for no BS conversations for the women who want more.
And today we are coming in hot with the final installment of our monthly nutrition series. We hope you guys have loved it. Let us know in the comments what we should talk about next month because we love the ideas. And to be honest, we got this nutrition series from you guys asking questions about nutrition. So if there's any topics that you want us to cover, you want us to cover, let us know so we could maybe do it for next month. But today's episode is kind of going to be a little bit of a wrap up. Practical tools you guys can start to implement, things that we want to tick off, what works for you, finding a diet that you feel comfortable following, and yeah, just really that final wrap up episode so you can go out and start either educating yourself more about nutrition, being more mindful about your nutrition, or just simply going into a deficit, going into a surplus, working towards your physique goals.
Yeah, and if we think about like why a nutrition protocol, diet, approach fails, it's often because it's either overcomplicated, not something that can be sustained, or it's just not actually like found in science, like not evidence-based for that example, and you just can't keep doing it. So whatever approach it is that you go with, and of course we're going to say whole food, high protein, but some of us have different dietary requirements and different preferences. Whatever you choose, it just has to be something that you can integrate into your life so it doesn't take up too much mental real estate. And we can do things, and we both do things that make it easier to stay on track, like meal prep, like meal timings, and we can break that down as well in this episode.
Yeah, honestly, the biggest hack that I live by, planning ahead equals planning for success. If you are somebody who wants to go into a dieting phase, let's just say that is the example. You're wanting to lose 10 kilos. Instead of you just waking up every day and fucking winging it, get organized. Meal prep your food. Take a chunk out of your week, 45 minutes. That's what it takes me every Sunday to meal prep my food for the week so I know exactly what I'm eating. So when the week does get busy, it's not an excuse for me to not eat good to fuel my body to either hit my goal of 10 kilo weight loss or just to simply make sure that I am not fatigued, I don't have brain fog, and I'm focusing on my health. So if you are somebody who, complains that meal planning or meal prepping is really, really tricky, you need to make time for it. Like, yes, meal prepping takes time out of your day, but also you walking 25 minutes to go and get lunch, waiting for your lunch while it gets cooked, eating your lunch, then feeling sluggish, then feeling bloated, then not feeling full enough for longer, then having to go to the supermarket at work to get snacks. That all still takes time as well. It's just where you decide to use that time. And for me, meal prepping on a Sunday, that does the trick. You do the same, don't you?
Yeah, we always do a food shop every Sunday morning, and then we prep during the day. And then I still will do like another cook up on a Wednesday typically because midweek. But it's always organized and set and try not to think about it for the rest of the week.
Yeah. And if you are a girl that's tracking calories and macros, let's just say you are that person that is in a deficit, you're wanting to lose 10 kilos, you're tracking your calories and macros. Another thing I tell my clients as well is to actually pre-track all of your food in MyFitnessPal for the whole week. So I like to eat the same meals pretty much the whole deficit phase. I'll eat pretty much the same thing on repeat. I'll have like 2 options. So like 2 lunch options, 2 dinner options, and I'll just rotate through those. And it makes food wastage not be a thing anymore because if I'm constantly having to create new recipes every single day, I'm usually wasting quite a lot of food and I hate wasting food. So for me, it's really easy to just eat the same things. And it also means that I can pre-track all of my food in MyFitnessPal or whatever tracking app that you use. So all you need to do every day is open your food and look at it like a menu. Like when I go home tonight, I'm going to have my Greek yogurt bowl with almond butter and pineapple and strawberries. And it's like, so delicious. Greek yogurt, the light one. So it's like more runny because I don't like really like cloggy, like glue yogurt. Disgusting. That, anyway, is so fucking good. But tonight, all I need to do is just look like how many grams do I have to have? Because right now I'm in a deficit and I'm focusing on
Oh, you?
Losing 5 kilos in 11 weeks. So yeah, that's my story.
Yeah. The other thing
Meal plan.
meal
Prep.
planning. Get
Meal
ready.
prep, not
Get
meal plan.
organized.
Meal prep, pre-track it.
The other thing I was going to say is the recipes that you make for just general health, general nutrition don't need to be super complicated. Like if you love cooking and you want to just like whip up a bunch of different fancy
Thai green
recipes,
curry.
yeah, feel free to do that. But if your barrier to you eating better or to meal prepping because maybe you think that, you know, ordering Uber Eats is easier, whatever it is, like you can make really simple, affordable options that will help you feel, you know, strong, help you feel energized. And it can literally just be finding like we always say, build up a bit of a repertoire of recipes that you like making. And it might take a little bit of a learning curve initially because maybe you feel like you're a shit cook. But there are so many good resources out there. We're happy to, you know, make some for you guys if you want as well and drop that through the potty channels. But essentially, coming up with 2 or 3 brekkie ideas that you love, 2 or 3 lunch ideas, 2 or 3 dinner ideas, and snacks. And then you just rinse and repeat and change some protein sources, change some veggies. And then it becomes a lot easier because, again, if you think of decision fatigue, and that is like every single day or every single week trying to think, what am I going to eat? What am I going to cook? It just kind of wears you down. And we want to lower the barrier to entry to eating well. And it doesn't need to be all organic. It doesn't have to be really expensive. Like I'm all for, you know, a microwave cup of rice and frozen veggies if it's going to get the job done. Yeah. So don't kind of stress out about like if you can't do it to that extreme, it's not worth it. It's always worth it. There's always something you can do. So keep it simple, create some and find some recipes that you enjoy, and don't be afraid to just throw something together and know that it's going to tick the boxes.
Do you know, I'm like laughing, even though, guys, my face looks insane because I still can't move my lip, but I'm laughing internally because do you know how many people ask me, can you post more recipes on Instagram? Can you post more recipes on TikTok? And like, if you guys saw what I ate, you would be shooketh to your core. I am I hate cooking. I'm a qualified nutritionist. I fucking hate cooking. Get me out of the kitchen immediately. I hate cooking. I'm not going to be a very good I would never be a good housewife. I hate cooking. I hate cooking. And I also just eat like a bro. I literally just eat mince, rice, veggies, tuna, rice, salad, protein oats, Greek yogurt bowl, eggs, spinach, banana. That's literally what I eat. And then obviously I will also have like a sweet treaty, whether it's like a little mochi, you know, little moons.
Love those.
Obsessed, dude. I could smash a whole box in like 2 seconds. Mochis. Sometimes I love Cocoa Love chocolate. Oh, so good. Have one of those. Very expensive though. Breaking the bank. Have one of those. Dark chocolate, Cadbury chocolate, like little sweet treaties as well. We want to add that in. But like honestly, eating really simple and really basic, it takes out all of the decision fatigue and also the task. Cooking can take long. You don't have hours in the day to cook. Of course that feels really hard. Versus just something that's easy. Like my breakfast literally takes me 3 minutes. How long does it take to cook an egg?
I always bulk cook them for 3 or 4 days.
In the pan. Because
Yeah.
I'm over boiled eggs at the moment. I've got the boiled egg ick.
Yeah, I get that.
So like I'm just cooking in a pan. It literally takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then like 2 minutes to eat it. Easy.
We can, the theme here is we don't need to overcomplicate it. We can make little changes to what we're currently doing to improve our diet, whether that be just cooking an extra meal to what you're currently doing or changing it up with the options. And there are other benefits. Like you can save money doing this rather than if you order Uber Eats all the time and you just feel shit and you're like, I'm just spending so much money doing this. Like I deleted Uber Eats last year and like every once in a while I'll have to re-download it because I'll be stuck somewhere and I'll need to order food.
Like at my house.
Yeah, like at your house. But
because I eat like a bro.
But I literally went from identifying, I don't actually want to use it all the time. I'm not eating that good. I just deleted it. So that's also like make it harder to do that and make the good behavior like the meal prep easier by having options there. Like that's another big thing with staying on track long term.
And it's also cheaper. I know that healthy food is expensive if you're doing like the organic, that health food aisle in Coles or going to like a really small
artisan
deli or something like that. But like if you're just eating basic, like what I just mentioned before, it's actually cheaper than ordering Uber Eats. It's actually cheaper than going through Macca's drive-through 6 times a week. Like Because when you buy a bag of spinach, for example, you'll eat that bag of spinach for 4 or 5 days. That will contribute to meals, right? So instead of just having one thing that's expensive, it's like, no, there is actual cheaper options that are going to be a healthier alternative than just eating Uber Eats, which is also a benefit to paying more attention to your nutrition. Is you're going to be saving money because it does become cheaper, for you cooking at home.
Yeah, and I also feel like you eat better. Like if you get stuck and you have to always get takeaway or whatever, like yes, it's tasty, but like you're probably not going to be as satisfied as if you make like a proper meal for yourself as well. Something that I think a lot of people struggle with is staying on track with nutrition when they're traveling or even when they're busy. Maybe you're on the road with work and things like that. Of course, being organized is going to help, but sometimes you just get stuck and you just have to do what you can with what you've got. We always think that the best approach is to just see what is available and make the best choice out of what is available. So it's like if I was stuck and I had a Coles nearby, I'd probably buy like a crispy noodle salad and tuna or whatever, and I'd throw something together as like a basic option to get the job done.
Yeah.
Food, fuel, enjoyable. If I didn't have that, I would essentially just use the framework of what we've said in the last 3 episodes, which is use the plate model, choose a high protein option and just build something. Like if I was stuck at Subway, I'd find a way to make a salad or a sandwich. It's just like, it's not probably as good and probably not as healthy if we're talking about like calories, nutrition, additives and all of that, but it's still fine. Like there's nothing, we're not demonizing any food around here. Like we said, we don't believe there's good or bad food. No. So what my piece of advice would be is like, when you travel, just do your best, stick with the framework of 3 to 4 high protein meals a day. Try to replicate meals that you know that you enjoy at home while you're traveling. And then it makes it so much easier to just transition to being back home and being more organized and meal prepping again.
And then also if you are traveling and you're just wanting to enjoy your time, enjoy your time.
Yeah.
Like when we were in Japan, I wasn't thinking about calories and macros. I was like eating everything. I was asked Aman one day, could I have ramen for breakfast?
Great.
Who cares? Because also at the end of the day, I know when I get back, I'm just going to get back into routine. So it's not about falling into that guilt and shame spiral. If you're stuck traveling for work and the only option is Macca's, it's like, just eat a cheeseburger. You're not going to die. It's going to be fine. And we just move on. We treat the next meal the same as what we would do if we were in normal routine if we can, or the next day straight back into normal routine if we can. Like there's no point fixating on it. The last point that I want to make is how do we go about socializing and eating out?
How do we go about it?
Yeah.
I would say that just depending on what phase you're in, if you're in a fat loss phase and you're trying to lose weight, we need to be more calculated and controlled so you stay in a deficit. If it's infrequent, like you have like a special anniversary or something, I would probably just plan for it, enjoy it, and then move on. But if it's like you've got multiple things on the roster and you're in a deficit, my biggest piece of advice would just be, let's just say it's a dinner. For the day, I would get your steps out of the way early so you know that box has already been ticked. I would probably have the same brekkie and same lunch that you normally do. And then I would just budget and allow for, some calories for that meal, replacing the normal main meal that you'd have, giving yourself a bit more of a buffer with maybe sacrificing a snack. The other thing I would think about is with alcohol, like alcohol is quite calorie dense in terms of there are certain choices that are equivalent to having a whole main meal if we're looking at like a pina colada or if we're looking at a cocktail. So there are some alcohol choices you can make if you are deciding to drink. For example, like a spirit, gin, vodka. What else have I got? Gin, vodka. Tequila. If you're going to drink, I would say like the white ones is what I would stick with. But yeah, I think like those things are lower in calories and I would just have them with like soda water and lime. Again, I probably would not drink during a deficit phase very much, but if you're going to, there are smarter swaps you can make. But the main thing I would say would be just be organized, adapt relevant to the phase that you're in, and then just get back on track the next day.
Yeah.
Like the best thing to do is like, say if you did overeat, we don't let that then become like your Sundays then shit and then you're not organized and then the next week kind of spirals. Like just get back on track and it's not going to have much of an impact.
Yeah, I totally agree. I tell my clients the same. If you're in a deficit phase, you're in a deficit phase for a short period of time. You just need to lock the fuck in, brother. Come on, lock in, get it done. Maybe that means sacrificing going out if you're serious about achieving your goal. And maybe you actually do need that kick up your ass, unfortunately. Like if you're the person who can never get to the goal that they want, maybe you actually do need to put some strict boundaries on yourself and go, you know what? For the next 5 weeks, I'm not going to go out with my friends. And if I do, I might bring my dinner to their house myself. maybe that's what you actually need, unfortunately. The second option is if you're in a deficit, but you're like, I don't really have a very strict time frame and I'm okay if it's a little bit of a slower process, I would do what Jem said. I would just bank calories towards the end of the day, allow 800 to 1,000 calories left for the night, eat your normal main meal for breakfast and for lunch, prioritize protein for that because sometimes when we go out, you might not have a super high protein meal. And then obviously be smart with alcohol choices. The third option is that you just don't give a fuck. Maybe you're in a maintenance phase or a calorie surplus and you actually just don't really care. And then you can just go out and live a La Vida Loca, your best life. And who cares about tracking any of that? Because it's also very, very important that you make memories, right?
Yes.
That is like number one in life. You need to have balance. You need to be filling up that social health cup that we spoke about before. And if you're not in a hectic deficit phase and you're not working toward a goal in a specific time frame, why the fuck are you tracking anything?
Deficit is for a short-term period. If you have some goal and an objective and something that you're working towards, that's fine. Lock in for that. But we don't want to do that year round for the reasons that you just mentioned. So you have more flexibility. And if you're eating well, 80% of the time you have the flexibility for these social things because it's like what you do majority of the time is what's actually going to impact how you feel, not what you do 10 to 20% of the time.
Exactly.
And on that note,
we're done. The nutrition series has come to an end. Now, if you guys loved the last 4 episodes of our mini nutrition series, please let us know in the comments. And also, like I said at the start of this episode, what do you want to hear next? We have a whole month ahead of us that we want your feedback, your help. We want your help.
And we love you. Thank you so much for listening. As usual, make sure if you're over on YouTube, drop us a comment and subscribe. And if you're listening over on Spotify, we will reply to every single comment. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week.
Love you. Bye.